Yo, this is Jumping Jack Frost, and welcome to the Frost Report. Boom! Welcome along to another edition of the Frost Report. Yeah, today I've got some friends with me. I've got Brandon Block, I've got Paul Danan, I've got Chalkie White, and we've got Daniella Westbrook, right? So today we are talking about mental health, and we are talking about the serious truth about drug addiction and how it's destroying society, and also life after addiction, which can be so sweet. Do you know what I mean? So, guys, welcome along to the Frost Report. I just want to say, before I start, right, I want to say this T-shirt I'm wearing, right, says "Boys Get Sad Too," right, and it's a bunch of guys who run a clothing company, and they donate 10% of all profits to men's mental health charities, because I think it's a fantastic thing. The clothes are really good, so have a look. Boys Get Sad Too. Big shout to Kyle and all the guys down at Boys Get Sad Too. Firstly, what I want to say, right, I've said this before in the show, but a lot of people are getting mental illness and mental health mixed up. Do you know what I mean? Mental health is something that you use every second of the day. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. But mental health is something that we use every single second of the day. Do you know what I mean? So, Brendan, to start with you, how you doing, and how's your mental health been, and have you gone through lockdown and now we're at the other side? How you finding things, mate?
So, as you said, mate, everyone has a mental health. So it's about how healthy your mental state is. I mean, as you say, it's everyone confuses it with mental illness because, an illness is something that you treat, whereas your mental health you have to manage as opposed to treat with medication. Mine, thank God, touch wood, although, I'll be honest, as boys can be sad, we've been through the most traumatic time of something which was completely out of our control, really. Thankfully, I had tools which I'd learned and picked up over the last few years of doing the work I do. Some of the time you have to go through stuff and you just sit with it and let the feelings come in. And sometimes if you want to change how you're feeling, you have to change your thinking. So having tools to be able to do that, it was fundamental in my lockdown as well. We were doing a group at the Ministry of Sound called Tuned Out. I'd started the group on a Wednesday night with Paul Byrne and you lot. We all spoke. We all had a week of us talking. We all support each other. We knew before lockdown, the world was headed for a mental health pandemic anyway, because of people's mental health suffering, let's say, not being necessarily positive, but struggling with what's going on, technology, all the comparisons and the expectations on social media, not living your own life because you continue looking at everyone else's life and aspiring to be someone else, which is great in a way, but then you never, because you've got it every day on tap. You look and you think, I'm going to be that today, I have to be that today, I have to be that today, but you're never going to be yourself. It's great to have aspirations and goals and look, I want to achieve great things like, let's say, Richard Branson, whoever, just for an example, Elon Musk, whatever, if money is your thing for success. But because we don't live, because unfortunately we've gotten addicted, let's say, so we're all capable of becoming like that, right? Every one of us, and we probably will be. And everyone's addicted to their mobile phones. Doesn't matter. Everyone's constantly, all day long. And social media's incredibly worse than that if you use it the wrong way. Anyway, so look, that's my little take on stuff. I'm really well, mate. I can't complain. For me personally, I've had some good experiences, I've had some bad experiences, but I've learned a lot from those experiences. And I think the thing that's key here is that we all are still supporting each other. We all support other people. We're still here available for people to reach out to if need be. And I think that the thing that everyone who's watching the podcast has to realize now is that you don't need to suffer in silence.
Paul, have you adapted to coming out of lockdown? Because obviously, I'll tell you from my situation, I thought I was okay, but when I came out of it, started DJing again, I realised I'm actually flipping quite screwed up by this whole thing. Do you know what I mean? How did you find it?
I mean, to be honest, at the beginning of lockdown, I was loving it, and I was kind of back with my family, living with my parents, got rid of my flat, and I was kind of like, yeah, boom, knocking out the podcasts every day. I thought that was gonna soothe me and help me by talking to other people that suffered with, you know, what I suffer with, which is kind of, you know, anxiety, fear, and addiction. And I was doing okay, and I was sharing my stuff, and it was giving them permission to share their stuff, and I was blown away by the amount of people that were opening up to me. And then I realized it wasn't enough, and I started to get kind of real cabin fever, and you know, and I wasn't good, and I had a bit of a meltdown and had to get out of there. And you know what? It was probably the best thing that happened to me, because I went and done what I had to do for a bit, self-soothed in a kind of a not a good way, but then I asked for help. And that's the main important thing, is that I really knew that there were people out there that cared about me. And I went to the people that did, and they said, okay, yeah, Paul, do you really want this? Do you want to sort it out? And I said, yeah, because I don't want to go any worse, and I don't want to lose my marbles. And there's really nowhere else to go. And you know what? I got to say, if Brandon doesn't mind, he was one of those guys. You know,
I know. I remember the whole.
And I
remember the whole scenario.
Yeah, I had to eat vegan and everything. It was horrible, but I did it, and he got me through it. And I got to a place where they helped me even more with my ADHD and all my shitty problems. And you know what? Since then, it's been a real good journey. Yeah, there's been some tough times, you know, and even today, I do feel still a bit on edge, a bit, you know, full of fear about certain things. And, you know, and that's the truth. The truth is that recovery is not easy. As much as it might seem quite simple and straightforward, you do these simple things and life will be amazing. And it's true. The promises are true that when you do the right things, amazing things happen. But there is still that little bloody devil in me that wants to get me.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's difficult.
It's
a bit of a battle sometimes. I thought I'd go away recently. I went to Portugal just to go and, you know, get rejuvenated and stuff. Went on a little retreat and I really enjoyed it and everything. But, you know, temptation is huge. Temptation is everywhere. And I know that it's a work in progress. But I really love what Brandon said about the mobile phone thing, because if you think about it, everyone is an addict.
You know, it's really strange. I mean, during lockdown, I will be completely honest with you, it frightened the life out of me because all of a sudden I went from being out there doing gigs and being, you know, sociable to living in a flat with 6 guys who were getting on it all the time. Broke up with my missus and kind of just imploded. Do you know what I mean? And started getting into it and started getting on it and kind of like through 4.5 years away where I'd been clean for 4.5 years. I lost my sister during the pandemic. She died to cancer. And I used that as an excuse to get even worse. Do you know what I mean? I got myself some help, got myself back in treatment. Like you just said, it's so hard. Temptations and I will be honest, I have fallen off the wagon. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to lie, I have. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I know what I need to do is just getting off my arse and doing it. Do you know what I mean? You know?
Yeah.
And it's so scary because you think, I sit there sometimes, I think, do you know what? Why are you doing this? Why are you putting yourself through this game? You should know better. But that devil, sometimes I let it become stronger than what my thinking process is. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I'm at this point where I'm thinking, do you know what? I'm alive. Yeah. I'm alive. I don't care. I'm going to enjoy myself. But the reality is I'm not, because I'm doing what I should not be doing because I know better. Yeah. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, we come out of lockdown. I'm working quite a lot again. But at the same time, I'm still indulging. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I need to kind of start the process again and stop, like you said earlier on, about beating yourself up about what you do. I don't want to beat myself over. I know what I need to do, and I just need to follow it through.
That's it. We can be so harsh with ourselves, you know, and that makes it worse. And then you want to self-soothe that pain.
All of us here have struggled with substance abuse. All of us here. I know Daniella, she'll be here soon. She has struggled herself, and it's something that I'm going to touch on. I'm going to ask, what makes a high-risk situation to you? Like, what triggers you? What would trigger you to use drugs?
I don't know if this is fortune or this was something that triggered in my nut, but I didn't when I stopped, right, and it was 96, I went in the clinic, yeah. I had absolutely, I can't describe what I'd done. So I can't extract, in extremes, it was so, I'd exhausted every possible avenue, trigger, whatever you want to call it. And I never came out and thought, oh, I want to go down that road. Whatever happened to me, like.
You had an epiphany.
I had an epiphany. I did have an epiphany, but whatever came at me, whatever was thrown at me, let's say, whatever was, put in front of me, or whatever was, whatever emotion or situation I was facing, once did my mind say, let's go down that road again. So for me, I was, I suppose, very fortunate, but also I had this, that my tool for saying that, or getting rid of that, let's say that situation, is that if you say to yourself, and look, and you're right, Paul, everyone's an addict, man. Humans are addictive by nature. That's what we are. We are creatures of habit. We do things if we like them. And if they change the way we feel, we're going to do them more often. For me, what I did was I made up this picture in my mind that all the doors I kept opening to say, right, you're allowed to go through that door, I locked them. Right? So none of those options were available to you anymore. Right? So if you can say to yourself, right, this situation's happened to me. This situation's happened to me. This is how I'm feeling. This is what's going on for me. What are my options? Because that option is now
closed,
locked.
yeah.
And then you think, right, I either have to sit here and go through the feelings and the whatever it is, the pain or the excitement or whatever it is that happened to you, or I can reach out, go and visit people, go to support groups, go and get support and help from my friends, or I could, you start thinking through the process as opposed to going for the immediate instant gratification and going, that's my easy way out.
Yeah, because it's too easy.
It don't work anymore, apart from anything else. It just doesn't do the same job as it did 25 years ago. It makes me feel bloody horrible. But look, it's not insane. It's just bad habits.
Do you think that drugs are a form of self-medicating, like masking deep-seated issues?
Of course they are. All the stuff we do is masking. Look, no one's perfect, are they? Because I'd like to find the person that defines perfect, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The wrong perception of perfection. We all have that. You imagine, like back in let's say in school. I know they say it's childhood trauma. Just say Dad goes, "Oh, look at that shot he's made. It's perfect. Can you do one the same?" You go, oh, "Probably not." That makes me feel like shit. Makes me feel I'm not good enough. It's all these little things over time that become this. So I say, well, that might be perfect in your eyes, but this is my best and that's my perfection.
Yeah. Comparing yourself to others and thinking I need to be as good as them, I need to look like them, I do that a lot, and I don't do it as much anymore because that my self-worth is better. When I feel like crap about myself, I look at others, I look exterior and I think, oh, he's doing so well, he looks so good, look at the girlfriend he's got, and that's because my self-worth is on the floor. As soon as my self-esteem is better, I actually feel like I'm all right, and that's what I'm trying to aim towards, is that liking myself, and then hopefully one day loving myself.
My biggest trigger is not talking. Yeah. I mask everything up, and I kind of like want everyone to feel good and smiley, but when I go home, I'm left with this empty vessel, and I don't know how to deal with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so from the outside, people think your life's going really well, but inside, it's not. It's going absolutely shit. Yeah. And it's one thing I've never, ever been able to do. I've got so much stuff that's happened in my life, and I've never, ever dealt with my childhood stuff. I've kind of like mastered it. So it's gone now. Leave it. But it's not, because it's creating what it's creating today. Because every day I get up, I get up with the intention of doing well, but then all of a sudden I'll go out, and the next thing I know, I'm not. I'm back to where I was now.
And it is really, really good to talk and to have a therapist. I mean, I have 2 bloody therapists. I'm such an addict. You know what I mean? I have a trauma therapist and I have another like drug addiction kind of ADHD therapist. And I don't care because I tell you what, every week I get to really, they know me so well, and I get to talk about my shit. And you know what? I feel comfortable and able to release it. And if I can't do that, then I'm going to be in trouble.
And you're denying yourself.
I have to get it out. If I keep it in my head,
but
then
that's all part of recovery and all part of healing is acceptance. Do you know what I mean? Acceptance is a very, very...
I need to learn to be open and when I'm feeling like that, talk about it.
Please.
Stop masking it, because it's all it's going to do is it's going to put me back where I was before.
If you're in that place where you're still struggling, the first thing you do is pick the phone up, not whatever else.
Yeah.
I've got a support group I'm running myself at the moment, right, online. And I was, and Paul, you'll know this, because Bill Shanahan, our very good friend, he was my psychiatrist 30 years ago. He's still my mentor to this day. He rang me and said, I'd like you to help someone. And this is the head psychiatrist at the Priory, right? And he said, I'd like you to help someone. And I said, okay, I'm so I created a little WhatsApp group. I had about 3 or 4 friends who are in a, let's say, in a funny place at the moment and struggling. And we've been with this group, and every one of them has made incredible improvements. Recently, there's been a few issues in one of them's life, right? Big issues. Each time he's just messaged the group or called me instead of picking up a drink. It's about just get that and getting that into a cycle as opposed to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Make that a habit.
Yeah. So first, well, I'd like to welcome Daniella Westbrook to the conversation.
Do you know what, though? I have to say, there are times when I struggle really badly and my ego doesn't let me pick a phone up. And my ego kept me clean in the rooms for 14 years, but I never opened my mouth. And I'd already made a decision 5 years before I was using to use. And once you're making a thought, a thought becomes an action. Yeah. For every action, there's a reaction, and the fallout is huge. And for me, it's like, I think those support groups and things like that, people you've got, sometimes it's so shame-based. I'm ashamed to admit to myself at times, mate, I want to use. Or I'm going to fucking self-harm to it, or I'm going to do something bad. I'm just in that space. Because that you know, threefold illness, that bit is on me. You know, that part in the brain is on me. And I think if we had... If you just had to let go of your ego for a minute, every morning I get up and I just have to hand it over. Because otherwise, if I don't hand it over the minute I open my eyes, before I have a cup of tea, go to the bathroom, clean my teeth, anything, if I don't get on my knees, my day is in serious dilemma. But do you know, it's taken me 48 years to get to that point, and I can't say I'll be there tomorrow. Because you never can. I have to go to bed tonight and pray to God that tomorrow I'm going to get up and hit my knees before anything. And the shame is not about people finding out I'd relapsed or anything else. The shame is for me to go, damn, why the hell are you feeling like this?
I think it's a very interesting point, because even if you haven't got, or you don't feel you can reach out to other people, if you are a person that believes in a higher power or in God or in something out there, your grandpa, your grandma that's not with us anymore, and you feel that you can talk to them, that is enough to start with. I mean, it should always be there. But if you can't, I feel no matter what, I've always got something to pray to or to talk to that can help me.
Sometimes if I make something vocal, it becomes real. And then I think, oh, it's out there now. No, you can't hide in my head anymore because it's out there. So reaching out is the best thing. And for me as well, say if it's in the middle of the night and I'm having a bad time, my dad's not been well, but a few things, I can put it down to anything. I can put it down to, I've got stuck in traffic on Euston Road I'm going to use. That'd just be me. So I write journals, and I've got books and books and books of journals about how I feel in that moment.
Do you know when we all get to that point, you know, that day you do something and you think, this is it, I've had enough. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm sure we've all been there. So I'd like to ask everyone this question, yeah? What's the worst thing your drug taking has made you do?
Well, I had that moment you said they had enough in '96 when I was sitting in the hospital with cocaine bug and you know, sitting there rocking backwards and forwards in a chair asking for more distal G6 and other painkillers. And I actually, my brain dropped into a clunk. And it was because I realised that the fear I was living with was the fear of living without drugs. And as soon as I let go of that, I was able to say, right, I'm ready to go. And that's when I stopped. And I mean, I dived off the ferry into Hong Kong Harbour. And
mate, listen to me. I was in Ibiza with you. I was in Ibiza when you nicked the bus. Yeah.
No, Alex nicked the bus.
Blame Alex.
But I jumped into Hong Kong Harbour. I came back and I got TB and I got hepatitis and I got all these other illnesses and I was isolated and given 2 weeks to live.
No, when you come out and you had TB, did you still find someone to drop your bits? And you still use
it took me another year to stop. I still had the TB and I still was taking everything. And so I got really even more unwell. So by the time I'd finished, I was, you know, broken.
Chalkie, what's
the worst thing I've done is living on the streets, putting myself on the streets voluntarily. Yeah. So I could just use and just hang around with people like myself and not seeing my child. One
morning I'm coming back from work. I'm in Brixton, I'm like whistling, and I've looked back and I've seen Chalkie. I'm like, Chalkie, what are you doing down there? And I remember at that time you just had a baby. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, mate, and we sat down there for about half an hour. And I remember, I think after that, you kind of...
That's when I got the journey to start my journey to get clean.
I was like, mate, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? And I was like, mate, I'm not going home until we sit down.
Talk some sense.
And we talk.
I'm still here, and I'm still trying to learn how to kind of like get the courage up to talk to people.
Of course,
because
that's
that's
the
my
main thing.
biggest downfall, Danielle. Honestly, I can make out that I'm doing so well, but inside I'm rotten.
We all do.
what I
that.
mean? We all
do it.
Ego will
You know,
kill
it's
you.
cool.
yeah.
When you go to CA, at CA, they say to do self-loathing is a really massive part of it.
Yeah.
And you've got to learn to love yourself. Do you know what I mean?
And that's my problem. I want to love everybody else before I love myself.
I do need to look in the
But
mirror
I
every
need to
night
look
and
in
go,
the
do you know
mirror.
what? Today you got
I
through
am
it. Well
okay.
done you.
Yeah, exactly.
Just that's a little list things
Mate.
just start you off.
And that's it. When we look back at what we was like and where we've come from to sitting here now,
Yeah.
you've done well.
I'm still alive.
you're
I've
right.
done well.
Yeah.
He's
Speaking
done
about
well.
it.
He's done well. And she's done bloody
I
well.
love Brandon. I've known Brandon since way before the scene. You know what I mean? Like way before the scene, and like and we've been tight forever. Do you know what I mean? And it's good to see that. Do you know what I mean? Because that's my inspiration as well. Like you said,
No one wants to lose
Do
a
you know what I
friend.
mean?
You
You
know, I
know?
don't want to lose
What's-
Brandon or Paul.
What's the worst thing you've done?
It's not love myself, if I'm honest, because I've done a million crazy things in my using. But what have I done throughout my whole addiction? Was not listen to my inner voice, not love myself, not believe in myself, listen to other people's influences, take on board, and then them same people try and fix them when they weren't fixing me. And I was just using on it. And it could have been drugs, drink, men, sex, gambling, the gym,
All-
cigarettes.
it's
It
all
could have been
sorts,
anything
innit?
with me.
Yeah.
I'm an
Yeah,
addict, an addict, an addict. I didn't listen to who I was. And I spent the last year and a half, I moved up north to Yorkshire to a tiny cottage. I just moved back to Chigwell. That was the first time since the age of 15 I've actually been on my own.
Yeah.
Sometimes I didn't see anyone for 10 days, 2 weeks. I've just done inner child work.
Yeah.
I've done workshops online. I've worked with my therapist 3 times a week on Zoom. I've done stuff. I've done online meetings. You don't have to show yourself. You can do it. Don't have to speak. I've done it.
Yeah.
I've voiced. I've done things. I'm facing fears. Do you know what? Today I know what I like, who I am. I'm getting there, and
that's
I'm
what
okay.
I need to do. That's what I need to do.
I'm
That's what I
okay.
need
And
to
do you
do.
know what? I put my operations, everything off for a long time because I thought I can use that. I can use that. I can use that. That don't work. That don't work. I don't have to fix myself because I look like this.
Yeah.
No, I have to fix myself. Then when I still look like this, I care that I look like
Yeah.
this. So I'm going to get fixed. And when I
Yeah.
look good, mate, I'm flying. And the worst thing I've done and throwing my life away was hating myself. The years I've wasted not liking the person I am.
That's a big step.
Yeah, because I can say I've done this, like Brandon, there's so many things. Paul,
Yeah.
all of us, we've
Yeah.
been homeless, we've done this, we've done I've used till my nose has literally fell off, I've done everything, I've given my kids up, I've thrown away things. You know, Brandon was at my wedding, you DJ'd my wedding, we had he's been my friend for a long, long time, Paul went to school with. I was clean then, I was clean for a long time, I was a crack cocaine addict before, my daughter was born the year before that. I ended up with 3 weeks to live. No one would fly me anywhere in the world. Richard Branson, the only person that fly me, they had to shackle me to the seat at Virgin Atlantic. They were going to turn me around and fly me back. And I had to stay in Arizona. While I was there, I got a phone call to say my son's been taken by social services, but they didn't want to take him beforehand, but they've been taken because everybody wanted me to come back and use. So they're all trying to find out. So I said, listen, I can't come. I didn't see my son for 9 months. I've seen him an hour a week. And I used to walk past my street and have to wave like this because I had law things against me. And I thought, whatever it takes, nothing and no one and nothing.
It's
I have to
heartbreaking,
do.
isn't it? You know what I mean?
Heartbreaking, man.
But
Tough.
I still went out and relapsed after that.
Yeah,
and I
same
blame
here.
my marriage, I blame
Same
this,
here.
I blame
Same
that.
here.
But I was a dry, like they say, a dry drunk. I was a dry addict because I wasn't working a program.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing it. I knew all the bumps. We used to go to CA, I used to help with the
Yeah.
conventions. I started the High Street meeting on a Wednesday with Bazza and Nick the Stitch. I've done all of that good stuff. But I was working
But it
for
wasn't-
everybody
yeah,
else doing
but
the
not you,
service.
but not you.
But I was doing face value service. You're meant to give service if you're giving service to yourself to be service of others.
Yeah.
You know, not just to give service
Yeah.
to look like
good.
you're doing the
yeah,
job.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
Go on, Paul.
My head is spinning because I'm thinking, what do they want to hear? It's not about what they want to hear. The one that stands out for me the most is it's not being arrested on the aeroplane. It's not being kind of like, I don't know, like, some really horrible one. Losing my marbles was the thinking I'm never going to come back from this. My brain is not going to be normal. The worst one for me is, and I only used in the morning. And then I only use it in the morning. But, by the afternoon, I'm getting all the presents ready. And then by 6 o'clock, I'm fucking running late. And then 8 o'clock, it's Christmas Eve. And I get to the mother of my child. And I'm there. And we always spend Christmas Eve together to wake up for Christmas. And I get to the door. And she looks at me. And I'm there with like Santa Claus with all these presents. And she just looks at me. And she's like, you haven't. And I thought I was all right. I thought I was okay. And she was like, you're not coming in. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm not coming in. It's Christmas. Don't be stupid. And I think it was his 4th Christmas. So he's finally realising what Christmas is. And I was like, please. And I came in for a second and it was like he didn't even recognise me. and usually he'd jump on me, you know what I mean? And that was my moment where I thought, oh my God, I can never, ever do this again, and I spent the whole of Christmas Day on my bed just in bits, and he was at Christmas with my family just thinking, where's Daddy? But for me at the time as an addict, no one's around Christmas. I couldn't even take the pain away. I couldn't get anything to take the pain away. So I had to sit with it, feel it, and know how I would never, ever do that again. And that, I would never want to put my little boy through that. And I'm sorry, D, you know. It kills me, you know, to think about. And he still remembers it.
When you said at a Christmas, because you did that, you laid on the bed and made it all about you. Where everyone else having a good time, pulls on his own. And that's how we are.
Yeah, but they weren't having a good time because the ripple effect on the family, every single person had the worst Christmas ever. We all had the worst Christmas ever because they were worried sick and they thought, how the hell? Yeah, it was exactly.
They care. They want
Can
to
he
live.
do that?
I want to ask everyone this question. If you could give your younger self some advice now, what would it be?
I would say go and enjoy yourself, but don't enjoy yourself too much.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Because you know what? I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't change anything that's happened in my life because it happened for a reason.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know? But at the same time, I'm 56 now. It's either I actually start putting the work in and making myself better, loving myself and getting the help I need, or it's going to be the box. And I don't want to die. I've got 3 beautiful girls, do you know what I mean, who I love. I love, like you said about your son.
Yeah.
They're my world.
My world.
But when I take drugs, they're not my world.
The thing is, this is the work I do. I do it through drama, and I people look at their scenarios that they've been in the past and how they can do something different now, today. What I would tell myself is to listen to the people that have been there. Listen to the experience of people that are saying, don't go down that road, don't do that. And if you're going down that road for the wrong reasons, then ask for help. Talk to people, talk about what's going on for you. Don't keep it inside because it will come to the surface and it will end up maybe too late.
I know what I'd say, get out, enjoy yourself, have a lovely time, live the life, follow your dreams, go do, listen to your intuition.
I wanted to ask something else, yeah? Like, in the height of addiction, what was the most helpful advice you received? And was there one particular person that was instrumental in your recovery?
Bill Shanahan was my mentor. He still is to this day. And, he saved my life. He was the man who said, if you come into this clinic on Monday, I will save your life. If you don't, I don't know how long you'll live, basically. I got to the place where I said, I've had enough. I have had enough. And that's what you said earlier. And it was that moment of clarity when I just realized that the anxiety and fear that was holding me back from changing my life was because of the fear of living without drugs. But as soon as I let that go, I was like able to say, right, now then I have to make decisions.
But what did he do, Brandon? Tell us about what Bill Shanahan does.
He just knew me. He just explained to me, it just resonated what he said. He said a number of things. And at the time, Paul, I can't remember what was going on it was like Vietnam in my head, mate. Full of complete anxiety. You know, like when they say, when you're in the grips of addiction, you don't mature mentally at all.
No.
All you're thinking about is the next hit, let's say, right? So you actually don't learn anything. The only thing you learn is how to master yourself better. Yeah. When you stop, all the reality comes in all at once. It's not like you've just been born, although you feel like you've been born, but you've got the world, which you've missed out on for the time you've been involved, but it all comes at once. And you're not prepared for it. You're not equipped to deal with it because you haven't done it for so long straight. It's like, it all comes at once. So I think his counsel, let's say, not just one key thing he said.
Yeah, accumulation of things,
because
basically.
You get your feelings back, don't you?
That's what you do. You get your feelings, you get your fear, you get all your anxiety back, you get all your fear back because you've never done any of this stuff without the aid of stuff, right? So you're actually doing things, seems like, for the first time.
When all that comes flying at you as well, like an open door and everything's in, like
no wonder why people really.
Somebody says something to you and it helps you categorise certain situations. Then your brain starts to piece away to work together, and then you find some sort of structure, and that's what he's giving you.
You know The Secret, the film The Secret?
Yes.
So normal. And I say normal, people generally, right? I use the term loosely, generally have around 60,000 thoughts a day. So if you didn't have your system of filtering these thoughts, and this is people who don't have, problems elsewhere, wouldn't have been, taking so much cocaine they couldn't stand up, sort of stuff. But these are people who just on a normal day would have 60,000 thoughts. And if you thought about 60,000 thoughts every day, you'd do nothing, right? Because it'd be, I don't know what's going on here. So your brain is called an NLP, but it picks out the things you need to know and the things you need to actually look at. But if you imagine that, 60,000 normal thoughts a day and all the other stuff coming in fast and furious, it's like the fastest computer in the world couldn't, manage all that stuff.
We're talking a lot about the thinking. So it's the thinking, and it's that thinking that when I think in a really disturbed way, or kind of you were saying about automatically you just want to go to the closest thing, what you usually do, which is pick up something that's going to work for maybe 2 minutes, and then
you're back to square one,
and then it's a nightmare after. Someone last week in a meeting said to me, just don't do too much thinking, Paul. You asked what was the guy or the person that was very helpful. It was when they actually said to me, Paul, I think you need to go and check. And this is mental health. And that addiction is mental health. Whether you have ADHD. And I was like, what? Or do you think? And they were like, yeah, why has no one ever really checked you for that? And I tell you what, it was the best thing I ever found out. And I know everyone thinks they're ADHD anyway, but I really, really was off the scale. And as soon as I knew what helped it, like tennis and walks and meditation and kind of really calming my thoughts and my thinking and slowing my brain down a bit more, I got help around. It helped with my addiction. It stopped me from wanting to go straight to a drug or a drink. And it's helped me, So I think there's an underlying mental health problem that causes us to self-soothe with medication.
Yeah, like for me, mine was trauma, childhood trauma of abuse and things like that.
I was going to come to that.
Mine was trauma-based, but I do have psychosis, this, that, because I was given drugs at a young age before my brain was developed properly and different things. So that's the doctor's theory on it. My son's ADHD, used to smoke a lot of weed. I've taken him to so many people that said there was nothing wrong with him. And then he's ended up getting proper fast track to do ADHD, and now he's got his golf, his music, his different things, got his business. He said, Mum, I can categorise my day. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. As long as I know what that's what he needs. He said, before I never had that, and I was like, Brandon remembers him, crazy kid, but so full of abundance and talent and everything else, but just like you used to be at school, bundle of energy. We've all got something.
Yeah, everyone suffers from depression at some point.
I think the lockdown showed everybody that we're all needed to slow. There's stuff we've all got.
As I said at the start of the show, a lot of people are mistaking mental health for mental illness, because mental health is
very different.
So it's something that we use every single day. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's not so good. Do you know what I mean? Where
mental illness is more something that's diagnosed within you. Mental health is something like I believe in God, obviously, but each time I believe in the universe. I do my manifestations of divine timing. I'm into all that stuff. Yoga retreats. I love all it. That's what works for me. But if I don't look after my health and feed my soul, then my mental illness kicks in. Yeah. And then my addiction's going to kick in, and then the whole world just falls apart. It's like you said, what was the one thing that was instrumental in that really changed for you? And for me, it was this time around with this relapse. And it was my whole family just didn't talk to me anymore. And I thought my son would be there for me no matter what. Do you know what? He just went, no. And he went, Mum, do you think it never broke my heart for 7 months to not pick the phone up? I spoke to the kid every day on his way home from work. He'd ring me, what's happening, Mum? Do you know what? He said, I'm not your carer. Do you?
But didn't it help?
No, mate, I needed him. Yes. It broke me. And I sat at home up north, and I worked on myself religiously. And he had to see it through my social media, different things I was doing, because he knew I couldn't lie. Yeah. He could see what time I was going on WhatsApp, what time my last read was. The kid knew if I was using or weren't using or whatever, because he knows I'm an addict. Yeah. I'm going to be slipping and sliding and finding ways around everything. For then Mother's Day, he rang me and last year he went, what's happening? And I just fell apart, and he went, Mum, I love you.
Where you both come from, the media and being out there, well known and so on. I mean, it must be so hard for you because like everyone's watching you. Everyone's watching you.
Do you know what? It's no different for Brandon and that. The guy's just like being a DJ. It's like being an alcoholic and going back and running a brewery. Brandon goes back in and his DJs, he's like one of the world's most famous DJs in the world, man. It's like, and he just went through all of that craziness. I remember watching him DJ everywhere.
Yeah.
And like. to suddenly just being clean.
Clean, yeah,
well,
and doing
stuff, and still
it, yeah,
DJs.
yeah.
I think it's when the attention's not there that I fucking feel
Yeah,
I get a bit like, oh, I want it.
Yeah.
'Cause
I don't anymore.
it's another addiction.
Yeah, that's the
You
biggest
know?
addiction. Fame's
Money,
the
all
worst.
I want
that
people to love
shit.
me. I want people to
Yeah,
love me.
but then
People
I
that love me,
don't
I'm
want
like,
it
oh.
too much. I want
Yeah.
it my way. Don't look at me too much, but give me enough.
No,
It's
see, I
bollocks.
don't
It's
want to.
all- It's like, you know what? You either do it or you get out.
Yeah, but see me, I got out for a long time and I just thought, you know what? I got out and I come back and I'm doing stuff and I'm like, I don't really enjoy that too much. I want to leave that there. My journey for me is this. This is where I've come to come now. I believe I was given this platform for my work, for PR, for press, for whatever, if I get put in the papers or whatever. I'm given this platform to pass a message.
Yeah.
Like,
There
not
you
to
go.
be the best actress, not to go back to EastEnders, not for
Just
any of
pass
that.
the message.
To pass the
yeah.
message, right, about the way to live. Not that I'm perfect or right and right and make mistakes, we all do, but to say there is another way out there.
You know, like you were saying about fame and the addiction to fame, right? Which is, we know, very profound and probably quite insidious as well. Those, I mean, you went on Love Island, but you know that the more recent people who have, unfortunately, God rest them, taken their own lives because they came out thinking, I'm going to have a successful TV career on the back of this, and that didn't happen. And that's that striving for, and then the loathing because I'm not good enough. But then it's just, see, fame is like a, oh man. So when I was working in the field, and I have done for many years, and I've worked with people who have, you know, multiple complex needs, worked for the NHS and doing outreach and going to people's houses and trying to help them move forward in their lives. And then you go in a Celebrity Big Brother house, and I'm actually thought, I don't think I'm the right person for here anymore.
Brandon, listen to me. When I saw you go in there, I was like, uh-oh, here we go. Do you know what I mean? I thought, uh-oh, here we go. And you were just like, you were good as gold.
No, I went in there. I went in and I was looking around thinking, they was going, yeah, just get Mad Brandon out again. I went, he's gone, mate.
Yeah. I was like, where's Brandon?
I just sort of was in there. And this is where I was struggling because I was thinking, who am I now? Because now I do this work with people and it's all about confidentiality and boundaries and, you know, keeping things quiet and you know, not talking about stuff. And then you go in here and all you want to do is talk about stuff.
They didn't want the new Brandon. They wanted the Brandon at the Brits.
Of course they did.
Of course they did. Of course they did.
But did it close
Mayhem.
the door for you, Brandon, in the way of like, actually, this celebrity thing ain't for me no more?
I don't think I ever, excuse me, felt like that. Maybe it was on telly. I did a bit with TV stuff, but I mean, it wasn't like, as Tama said, Tama, I love this. He said, we were Z-list celebrities. But he said, what do you mean, it goes round A and there's Z. So it's right next door to A-list celebrities.
It's great. That's wicked.
I never felt like that, as in, I'm sure when you're on telly a lot, which you lot were, it's like, it's a different thing because you are completely in the public eye all the time. So you can't really go out and have a quiet night, or you can't. You get loads of attention all the time, and as soon and in your life, especially because of, you know, what went on, it was constantly under scrutiny.
4 years on a soap opera, working my arse off every day, and then 6 weeks on Celebrity Love Island. And I tell you what, I've never been more famous from that compared to 4 years on working my arse off as an actor on a soap opera that was on 3-4 times a week. And it was nothing compared to the attention and the fame that Love Island did for me. And it killed me. And it put me straight in rehab. And you know what? I came out and they asked me, do you want to do it again? I said, yeah, all right.
Think about
I love you, Paul.
Us as DJs, we just, people know us, but they don't really know us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we can kind of, they know us, but they don't really know us. Do you know what I mean?
So the more that people and general people are getting immersed into reality shows because it's addictive, right? Everyone, it's addictive. They want to see the social experiment. And Celebrities Love Island comes after, you know, the sort of EastEnders starts to get, you know, the way it does, and staff change. And that's why you're so famous out of that thing, because it was like literally everyone watched it. That was like
Like get to see the real you, not a character.
People still try to act, but you didn't. You just had a laugh.
It's
you
impossible.
Just
I thought I was on
Paul.
holiday. But listen, you know, that's what they want. And they wanted it from Brandon and he weren't going to give it to them. And props to you.
Yeah,
They
of course.
say to you, come on, come on to Celebrity Love Island for the second time. It's all inclusive.
The all-inclusive version.
Oh man! With Celebrity Big Brother, I thought. I mean, it was mad. I was doing it sober, and it was like rehab, but with drink. And I found it really easy in there. But everyone was drinking, and I was like drinking my beaner and shit. And then the minute I got out there, within 2 weeks, I was gone again.
Mate,
because it stayed with me. The thought and watching and subconsciously,
No, listen.
that stays with you.
Yeah, but I went in Big Brother and I was doing 10 bags a day, and I just got to the hotel, did nothing. Got up, woke up every morning and thought, I'm at work. Everyone's drinking, boozing, I'm watching the experiment go on. I'm going in saying to them, listen, when this kid's sitting in hospital in 6 months' time and this is done for ratings and she's got wires hanging out of her, I'm sure enough the kid was, right? Where are you going to be? You're going to be there for her mum and dad? No. I walked out of there at the final, right? Got back to the room, see me kid, brilliant. Ordered 6 grams again.
In counselling training, right, they've got this thing where they say most of the time when people are taking drugs, it's a replacement for early childhood parental relationships. Do you agree with this? Do you think that your relationship with drugs is trying to fill a void somewhere along the line?
Can I say? Well, I saw my dad. My dad was an alcoholic and a gambler, so he was an addict. But back then, we didn't know what addiction was. Do you know what I mean? As far as we was concerned, my dad just drank a lot, or he liked to gamble a lot. And I believe that I've kind of inherited that side of my dad. Do you know what I mean? You know, and I'm not blaming my dad because at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's taught behaviour, So I saw him doing it and I believed it was okay. Do you know what I mean? I never became an alcoholic, but I became a crack addict and a cocaine addict.
Our generation.
Yeah, basically, you know. But so I do believe that, yeah.
You believe that, Paul? How about you?
Yeah, I can relate to it, but I could blame a few different things. I mean, when I was younger, yeah, you know, I don't want to get into it. I don't blame my parents at all. My parents.
No, I don't blame my dad.
Sweet, bless them.
And they're not addicts or whatever. But I know my mum's definitely got ADHD. You know, my dad worked his arse off. I didn't see him a lot, but I don't blame. That's the reason. I think what happened was, you know, as you all know, the rave scene. I got into that, and everyone stopped raving and got on with work and this, that, and I carried on.
Yeah.
I'm still
Same
raving.
here.
But you know, I carried on, and I couldn't understand why. And I think some stuff happened when I was a teenager that I'm not going to go into. And I think I suffered with some severe trauma, and that's the only way to escape that
That's what I'm
was to
saying.
self-soothe.
It's the same thing. It's like taking drugs as a replacement.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
I believe that. Yes, I
filling
do
a void.
believe that.
It's the same
Yes,
thing.
I do.
Dan, how about you?
Not for me. I'll be honest with you. Neither of my parents are alcoholics or anything like that. Lovely people. I went into this industry at 9 years old. I was chaperoned a lot. I worked a hell of a lot. It was even a smaller industry then. And as everyone knows, I'm one of the chief witnesses for Operation U-Tree against, you know, the celebrity paedophile ring stuff. And I was given cocaine and drugs at a very, very young age to make me suppress and numb. And that was the first thing I was given. It was the first thing I used before a cigarette or alcohol. And that was all I knew. So for me, it wasn't taught behaviour or anything. It was what was given to me. So to me, no, it wasn't it wasn't about childhood trauma from parenting. For me, it was people in a parental position that was chaperones and people like that abused. Because I was brought up to tell the truth, and you know, if you see a policeman, be respectful. My mum and dad worked hard; they had nothing, as most of our parents in this country, you know. But same as Paul, they were lovely people. They don't understand addiction.
No, and the thing is, they didn't talk to me about things. When I lost my grandpa, we never talked about it. I never really went to my parents and talked about when I felt bad. I just kept it to myself. And that,
exactly
again,
right.
goes back to you, Chalkie. When you keep it in, it's not good. You know, we need to get it out.
I think that today there's a lot more communication with families. Is because, you know, my parents and my grandparents didn't really speak about their feelings, about how they felt. And
wouldn't in front of your dad,
I love you, or nothing like that.
No,
we just knew that they loved us. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's a generational thing. I think our generation are a lot more expressive.
Well, I think it's been been through stuff that's so traumatic in that. So for me, even now, like with my mum and my dad's got dementia, but my mum or my kids, even Claire went out the other day. We sit down as a family to eat, and no one has their phone at the table.
Yeah,
we converse,
that's healthy.
And that's what I used to do with
That's
my
really
kids
healthy.
growing up,
Yeah,
because my parents both worked a lot, so we didn't always sit down together. So when my kids were growing up and I was sober, Brandon knew me for like 14 years, we sat down overnight. My husband worked very hard, my ex-husband, God bless him, and he was great. And when he come in overnight, we'd sit down, we'd all talk about a day. If Jodie was sick, well, what happened? That was a couple of hours for our day that everyone just really grouped up, and I loved that. My children have been brought up in a way of Kai's got a problem with speaking out, and he actually is an empath in the sense of he's mercenary, but he's an empath in the way he can put his feet in somebody else's shoes. And I'm proud for that because the next generation are coming through that are like that.
But do you think they're changing now? I mean, your
Yes,
parents
it's
different
different
now.
now. I think different now.
I think my parents are different.
But I think it's my children that have changed my parents, not me.
Right.
It's the grandchildren
I
that
think,
make them
so,
softer,
I
you
think
know?
so as well, you know, Dan.
That's true.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask something else, yeah? Did you know as a pattern, was it like through socialising, needing confidence, escapism, suppressing your emotions?
Greedy.
So, what was it? What was it?
Greed.
Fitting in, being part of something.
Do you know what mine was?
I needed to have connection with something and a group.
Was it because, and I think I used to do this, and I'm really working on it with my therapist about it at the minute because it's hard for me to accept. I think I did things because I felt a little bit better than everyone else when I hung around with people that needed me a bit more to buy their gear or do something they were using all the time. It made me feel a bit, well, at least I'm not as bad as them, you know, but I was bad. Yeah. And like them, I'm helping them, I'm doing something for them. Did you feel like I fit in somewhere there? Because my real mates weren't like me. They weren't doing it. They were
Because I
decent
wasn't
people.
as rich as you, Dan. I didn't buy no one fucking gear. Right. I had all of theirs. That's the thing.
Sure, I took your hats
Honestly,
off, yeah.
I'm sorry. I wasn't like that. I was just following the older lot. I wanted to be like, you know, cool and with the older lot, and I wanted to fit in, and I wanted to be with the cool gang. And I think, you know, when I took speed for the first time, it was like, wow. And now I know because that's what they use for ADHD medication. So I couldn't believe how good I felt, and I think I just wanted to keep feeling that feeling. But then it stops working, as Brandon says. It all stops working and does the opposite. And when it goes against you, that's when, you know, you're not using it; it's using you.
Yeah.
I think a bit of everything, what everyone said here, is part of, you know, listen, we all grow up, we have people we aspire to. So live like the old lot. If it's drinking in the pub, you want to drink because you want to be part of the older firm, obviously. If it's now drugs, then you want to fit in. You also want to have fun. You happen to enjoy it. You've got music. You've got a new cultural social network, let's say, going on. If it's in TV, it's in TV. If it's in music like us, it's in music. We all have a new set of peers who we are growing up with, and each part of our lives. And like Paul, I don't think I blame my parents. I think they all had tools at the time which were given to them, which don't work as life progresses. You know, each time we have a movement in life and a movement in what's going on in around us, the systems change, don't they?
Yes.
The way work changed. So it's never static, and you can't say those rules are going to work in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So it's about adapting. But I think when I was at it, I just got so immersed in the party, and maybe it was an escape. Maybe it was. Maybe I didn't. I don't know if I'd loved myself ever, or who knows. But I just immersed myself. So I was obviously very good at it.
Brandon,
so
you was the party. Let me just tell you.
I was for the time until I was unable to do it. But so maybe, yeah. Well, then in that case, maybe people wanted to be with me.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I created that incredible mask.
It's true. You had a rep, and I never hung with you when you were off it, and I always wanted to, because I was like, man, if you party with that guy,
Listen,
you're gonna have a good time.
I got to IB for. I'm like, where's Brandon? I go to the Star Bar in the morning. Where's Blocko? Yeah, guarantees going to turn up soon.
So here you go. There's the answer to your question.
We're getting all excited about it.
Blocker and Alex,
mine was peer pressure.
Yeah, yours was.
As Daniella said earlier, it'd be about being, what if I was so, because you were unkind to yourself and you to make yourself that ill.
Yeah.
If there's one thing you could change, I wouldn't make myself so ill. I loved the fun we had. It made me who I am today, and it made us who we are today. But it was a great journey, and to be part of that thing, even then in the 80s, and like Frosty and we met at Heaven 35 years ago.
That's
and
right.
Being part of that movement, let's say, or that evolution of music was just incredible. And you know, we were let's say, the creators of life at that time, because clubs became everyone's life, clubs. No matter
rave
what
scene and all that, remember?
Exactly. So no matter what walk
We
of
went
life
from string
working-
fellows who light up discos to Brandon and you guys, and it's intense.
So I wanted to ask something, yeah? What advice could you give to someone right now in the throes of addiction? Someone watching this, they say, I want help. I'm listening to you guys. I want to change my life. I'm going to start with you, Blocko, because you do the work here.
The difficult thing is engaging and just making that first move, because once you do, you start a journey, you start a program in your head this is where you start asking yourself questions. So I think the first thing you do, if you're struggling, you are, just reach out. There's loads and loads and loads of people. There's places you can call anonymously. You can go to a meeting. I think it's getting over the fear of attending somewhere, but just do it. I think just you make that biggest step. You're in a place where you can quite easily overstep the mark another way. Do it this way to help yourself, and just don't be afraid to reach out. Reach out to one of us. Get us on social media, whatever. Just do that. First move is just don't be afraid to reach out and do it before it's too late. That's all.
You guys will probably get the same. I get people every day on my inbox and Instagram. I don't normally run my social media, but I go on every single night and I look to see if there's anyone in trouble that comes on there, and I say, listen, what area are you in? Let me get you to a meeting. Yeah. I'll go online for them, I'll find a positive thing, blah, 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 blah. It's okay. Listen, I'll be honest with you, your NHS is going to make you wait for 16 weeks maybe to see someone. Put the seed in with the doctor, get to a meeting now. I'll try and find somebody in that local area that can maybe pick you up. You haven't got to say anything, don't feel ashamed. People in there have all sat in the same seat you're going to sit in. Exactly. You haven't got to open your mouth, just get there, see what we're about and let us help you.
For me, same as what Brandon said, but looking at myself, I need to learn to ask for help. And when I do ask for help, follow it through.
The thing is, I do get messages as well, and I know that people can ask for help, but they have to, and I have to put one foot in front of the other and get there or do what I have been told to do or what I know will help me. And I think it's about facing that fear and conceding and saying, I've had enough, I don't want to do this anymore, so what's the alternative? Either to die or to take this step and sit in a meeting.
Where are you at now in your journey?
Right, this present moment, I'm here with you lot, which is a privilege.
Blessing.
I'm glad I've actually spoke about how I feel and what's been going on for me, because a lot of people have been like saying to me, how you doing? And I've been lying. I've been like, yeah, I'm doing okay, and and I haven't picked up, and and I walk away from there thinking, why did you say that? Why don't you just tell them the truth? You know what I mean? Like, you are struggling. Am I scared at their reaction? Am I scared that they're going to judge me? And the bottom line is nobody can judge me.
I feel really good today, and thank you for asking me to come here. And I love you, brother, and we're going to talk. And I really, really love this kind of collection. I'm doing really good things with the Morning After Drama and the Morning After Theatre Company. I feel really proud of what I've built through using, the arts with mental health and with addiction and helping others in that way. And it helps me. But I tell you what, I know I need to get my ass to a meeting tonight and tomorrow and keep doing what I got to do, because my life is so much better when I'm clean and sober, and it's so shit when I'm not.
Yeah.
Dan, where are you at?
I'm here. I'm alive. It's Sunday and I'm alive, and I'm feeling good. I've got my family in my life. I'm happy. I'm having my operations done. Do you know what? I feel gratitude and abundance just for liking myself today.
Beautiful.
I know I am. I'm owning it. And you know what? I'm proud of
beautiful.
you. I'm very proud of you to see where you are. I remember a little while back there, because I've been speaking to you and you were hanging on in there on Brandon's sofa, man. This man does wonderful things for me.
Oh, it's beautiful. Firstly, I want to send a big, massive shout to Paul Byrne as well, right?
Yeah.
Paul.
Yes.
I want to say a massive shout to Paul, because I wanted to get Paul on, but
what a guy.
Paul's here in spirit. I want to say a massive shout to Paul. Yeah, he's done great work. When Brandon and Paul were doing the Happy Days thing,
and tuned out.
That was it was such a beautiful atmosphere between us all there. It was a really safe space for us to share. And it was just, I miss it. I miss it as well.
Here's the good news. We're starting again soon.
Hey!
Lovely.
So you'll all be welcome. You'll all be coming to a talk again. Daniella, we'd love you to come and share this time
Brandon,
as well.
I'm very proud of you, man, of what you're achieving.
Yeah, me as well. Proud of you, mate.
Thank you. Look, it's actually what you've all just said has made me feel a bit emotional. Thank you. Wow. Oh man.
I own it, mate.
I love you, mate. I love you, mate.
Bro.
I mean that from my heart. I love you, mate.
Where I am, I'm starting work again next week for the local drug and alcohol service in Bournemouth. I moved down here because I just want to get my foot back in the door. And then, in all honesty, the stuff about this coaching thing, and it doesn't fit ethically with me. So I got my wellness, let's say, from people helping me, and I just want to do that back like you lot do. Hearing you lot today is hearing us today, let's say. I'm not saying you lot, I'm just hearing everyone today. It you know, little nuggets of information would always improve your life. And as long as you listen and just take what you need from everyone, be you. Don't be anyone else. Don't live for anyone else. Live for you. You know, don't compare yourself ever. I know it's difficult because that's why we live, but if you can just say, I don't care. You know, it's like that living with the Joneses, right? We also say keep up the Joneses, right? But the trouble is the Joneses is in your hand every day. It's not like he's got an Aston Martin at the end of the road and, well, Dad, could we get an Aston Martin? It is, they've got this and I can get it from Amazon and I can do this and I can and look like that real quick and go there and this. And it's like, it's too fast, man.
Brandon, do you know the funny thing? My son said to me, and I loved it. And he said, do you know what, Mum? You can never invest enough in your health and your mental health and everything else. He said, don't worry about where you live or what you've got. He said, you know, there's only one place in this world you can live, Mum. It's like where he went in your body. Yeah. He said, so look after it, please.
Your health is your wealth.
And I was like, yeah, man.
Yes!
Listen,
Well done, everybody.
Brandon Block, Daniella Westbrook, Paul Danan, Chalkie White, thank you for joining me today in the Frost Report. I want to say a massive shout to Susie Muston and a big shout to my good friend Bonnie Allison, who helped me today with research and stuff. It's two very, very clever young ladies who work within the mental health and drugs and alcohol industries, and they helped me a lot today with researching today's show. So I want to say big shout to them. Massive shout again to Boys Get Sad too. A big shout to all my sponsors. Big shout to everyone locked into the Frost Report. We'll be back real soon, yeah? Peace out. Till next time, we're out.
I get high of your memory.